YouTube disclaimer. This is a dramatic performance of a totally fictional monologue. Any similarities to reality are purely incidental. This video is for entertainment and artistic purposes only. So let us begin with a quote from Aristotle. Money, being naturally barren, to make it breed money is preposterous and a perversion from the end of its institution, which was only to serve the purpose of exchange and not of increase. Men called bankers we shall hate, for they enrich themselves while doing nothing.
Hi there, my name is Toby and this is Body Efficiency Training. On this channel I talk about the mind-body connection, body dynamics and the life force energy and how these things all work together. And this is lecture number 11 in my Magickal Science Lecture series. And in this lecture I want to talk about the state of the world. I want to talk about the matrix and I want to talk about the system that we find ourselves living in. Because we're living in a very controlled system. Now we think we're free, but we're not really free. There are a lot of things applied to us and we've got to work out what they are. We've got to see through the lies. We've got to reveal the lies that we're being told and work out what is really going on. And this is important because for us to find our own energy, find our own mastery of ourselves, our mind and body connection, we need to know what is true. Because we believe a lot of nonsense. We've been told a lot of stuff that is flat out nonsense. And because of that, we can't really find our center. We're always knocked off balance. And furthermore, we are separated from our body. We've been taught things that separate our soul and body and separate us from the earth. We're separated from nature. We're separated from the cosmos. We're separated from the stars. All these things we are told are external to us and irrelevant to us. But it's just not true. We are all living in a unified universe. This universe is made of pure fluid ether. Again, this is not mainstream knowledge at all. But if you look at this lecture series, go back to the very beginning, I talk about this step by step. And we can deduce this from pure logic. See, remember, there's only ever been two postulations about the nature of the universe. One is the ether, field theory. Everything is made of pure fluid fields. And the other one is atomism, or quantum mechanics. The universe is made up of little particles, and they're all bumping together, doing things, and the universe is built up from that. But it can only be one of these two things. And the particle theory, atomism, just does not hold up logically. There's too many problems involved with particle theory compared to field theory. Field theory is the simplest, most elegant solution to the way that the universe works. Now, we've just had a general election here in London, but this is all theatre. Everything we see going on in the world, in society, is some kind of theatre. And it's a theatre for our benefit. It engages our mind. We get lost in this theatre and we think we're participating. We think we've got something to say and we're a part of this. But we're not really a part of this. This is all controlled from the top down. And really, if you look at it, the system that we're under is under the control of the banks, a centralized banking system. So it goes way back, and in fact it goes way back, probably goes back throughout time, but we also know the ancient Sumerians also engaged in this fiat currency, this corrupt banking system. So in the ancient Sumerians, the people would have to bring their gold and silver to the temple or the palace, and it was all one and the same thing. The ruling class, the religion, and the bank was all one and the same thing. So they'd bring their gold and silver to them, and in exchange they'd give them little clay tablets with a stamp on it. So already back then, the ruling class collected all the wealth from the people and gave them worthless clay tablets in return. And everyone just bought this. Everyone just bought this. Okay, we'll do that. So what is that? This is a manipulation. This is a control of the large number of people. And it's a control of ignorant people because we don't know any better. And we assume these people are looking after us and are doing something for our overall good. And this is why this lie works. We all know, well, we need some kind of system to live under. We've got to have law and order. We need law and order. Yeah, it's corrupt, but still we need it. We need the police. Yeah, they're corrupt, but we need them. But what we don't get, what we still don't understand, and it's the most important thing to get here, is one, the world is controlled by a small group of people, and they're controlled from the top down. It is more like a mafia system. It's not a free society, it's more like a mafia, a globalist mafia. And they control us through the system itself. They don't have direct control, but they have created a system, and this system controls us. All they have to do is tweak the system, and the system does all the work. We all subscribe to the system. And this system, of course, is the matrix. And people talk about it now, break out of the matrix. We've got to get free, set ourselves free from the matrix. And is the world a simulation? Are we living in a simulation, a computer simulation, or a hologram? But you've taken it too far. It's not a computer simulation. What it is a group psychosis. We're living in a group belief system, a belief structure. And because we all subscribe to this belief, we all engage in the system and we all become complicit in the system. And this system values corruption. The corrupt ones rise up through the system and the honest ones get pushed down through the system. That's how it works. And this is how they control us all. The narcissists get valued, they rise up, and the honest, dignified, decent people get knocked down. But let's talk about the system a bit further. You see, the system we're living under, the matrix we're living under, is really built on three things. We've got the financial system, and most of us know this is completely corrupt. The financial system is led by central banks. And if anyone out there still thinks that the government looks after the money, you really got to do some research. Everything is a private centralized bank. Nothing to do with government. The government needs the money, and the government takes the money from the private centralized bank. So who's more powerful, the bank or the government? So first of all, we have the financial system run by private banks, which really boils down to a few private families, and which boils down to a mafia system. And then we've got the legal system, so the legal system, and we've got the political system, the government. These three systems together, they all work hand in hand. They're really one and the same thing. And these systems, we all sort of believe we need them. We've been taught to believe that we need these systems. Yeah, the world would be chaos without that. I've talked about science in terms of physics in the first lecture, but let's talk a bit more detail about medicine. Because, of course, medicine is an extension of science. And medicine is one of the big control systems that we've got working upon us. You see, remember, if this group of people, whoever they are, control everything, they're going to control education, they're going to control science, they're going to control medicine, they're going to control history, they're going to control the media, they're going to control entertainment, they're going to control, as I've said, politics, legal system, and the financial system. They control all of this. But remember, it's not direct, it's indirect control through this mafia structure. It's on a need-to-know basis. Certain projects are funded, other projects are defunded. Some are brought to the front, some are hidden away in secret. And we all know that now. There's secret science, secret projects going on, the UFOs, and there's a big argument, are the UFOs coming from the aliens, or are they secret government projects? But that means we all got the idea that the government, or these secret organizations, have got another science. They've got a different science. They're just not telling us. See, nobody understands how these UFOs are flying about, but they're saying we've got them. So what's the science behind that then? Where's the quantum mechanics explaining how these work? Because if we got that quantum mechanics explaining how these work, we should all be having them. But we don't. We don't see any UFOs down. We're not driving UFOs around. It doesn't work with the science we've been given. There's another secret science. It's the same in medicine. You see, there is a better science that would provide greater healing, very efficient healing, non-invasive healing technology. This stuff exists, but we don't have that. We've got highly damaging, highly invasive medicine. And why is that the case? Why is that the case? Well, we know it's for profit, But we also now know it's got to be to keep us subdued, keep us in our place, keep us unhealthy, keep us depressed, keep us malleable, controllable. And the biggest lie in the medical system, if we can get our head around that one, I want to start with the big one, is this. In the medical system, we talk about this. I don't even want to say the word, but this thing here. And we know we've recently had a medical intervention about this. This thing is the biggest scam in the medical system. And I'm going to leave links below to Dr. Sam Bailey. And there's a very serious group of scientists who are trying to reveal what is really going on here. But essentially what they're saying is this does not exist. There is no such thing as one of these. Now, very hard to believe. But if that is the case, if this does not exist, we're dealing with a very, very big lie. Very big lie we're being told. Now, how can it possibly be that this doesn't exist? Because there's so many scientists looking at it, they're creating them. Remember the medical intervention we had, a lot of research went into it. We know that, okay, maybe we're trying to heal it, but there are other things put in there. They put in other toxins, other things. And there's other theories that when they created this, or they created this rather, as a bioweapon, this was a weapon, but even that can't be the case because this doesn't exist. So you can't create a weapon because it doesn't exist. So what is going on here? What is going on here? If you can understand this, you'll see how these lies work. And if you can understand one big lie, just one big lie, you'll be able to see all the other lies. I talked about in a previous lecture. Now, bacteria are real. We've got bacteria. Now, these are perfectly real, but even what they tell us about that is not quite real. These are not generally aggressive and harmful. Most of these are very good for us. We just want a harmonious balance of bacteria. But this is much smaller. This is much, much smaller. This is smaller than DNA. So what they're looking here is fragments of DNA, cellular fragments, little fragments of biological material. And you can look at all this. They've got to look at it with an electron microscope. It's much smaller than bacteria. But even scientists say, well, it's not really alive. This can't be alive. It's a sort of semi-living thing. But if you look into it, you will realize that never has anyone ever witnessed this infecting and self-replicating. You've only ever got CGI of this happening. This is an assumption. They're looking at these things, and these little particles, they sort of fit together with DNA. They fit together in the cell, so they think, oh, it goes in there, therefore it must be doing something. But they have never observed this thing alive, replicating, self-replicating, infecting a cell and self-replicating. You can observe it with bacteria, you can watch these under a microscope, but you can't watch this doing anything. And it's gone so far as there was a big scientist in Europe, and he actually issued a reward, $100,000 reward, to anyone that could prove to him the existence of one of these. And nobody could. Now, in fact, someone said they could, but they didn't. And then that person took him to court and said, look, you've got to give me the money because I proved it. And he went through the courts a couple of times. In the end, even the court had to admit there was not sufficient evidence for this to exist that he needed to pay the money. He needed to pay the reward. That's a big, big deal. Now, Dr. Sam Bailey talks about that in greater detail. So I do recommend her channel. And you have to look at her website because, of course, YouTube does not like the videos she makes. But when you can understand, scientists can spend a lot of time studying all these little bits and bobs, and they really believe they're looking at these. They haven't observed it. You see, what happens is, how do you find one of these? Well, you've got to take a so-called infected cell, some infected biological material, and then you have to put it through a lot of processes. You have to blend it up, put in solvents, put in chemicals, distill it. You've got to do so many things to get through. Then finally you can look through the electron microscope and see something. But what they don't do in any of the experiments, there's never been an experiment with a control. You see, every experiment you do biologically, you can do all that mixing, but you have to have one on the other side where you don't touch it. So this has got to be purely natural, and then one you mix up, and you've got to be able to compare. Do you see this actually happening naturally? There's never been an experiment with a control. because you can't actually observe this. You have to do all this mixing, analysing, dissolving, spinning, and then you can look and see what you see. So this is a big one. And once you get your head around the fact that these don't exist, then you have to ask, well, what is going on here? Well, this is a very, very clever lie, because this allows the entire medical system to be built up. It allows the medical system to create all these sort of things all the time. So they can put these in us all the time because of these. And it allows them to create new ones. Oh, there's a new one. There's a new one. Oh, you need a new one. You need a new thing because we've got a new one. Medicine, the medical system is also operating on something called planned obsolescence. Now, planned obsolescence is a big one, because planned obsolescence started with the light bulb. When they've created light bulbs, and they created them 100 years ago, and in fact light bulbs go way back. In fact, old light bulbs have been found. But let's just say 100 years ago the light bulb was created, and there is one still on. It's called the centenary bulb. It's been on for 100 years, never turned off, always been on. So it means you could create a light bulb that lasts forever. Just the ordinary old filament bulb. It doesn't break, it lasts forever. And of course these guys realised, well, if we create light bulbs that last forever, we can't sell anymore. So they had a meeting, they got together, and they worked out a system to make a fallible light bulb, a light bulb that won't last forever. It will last a certain amount of time, then it will break, so everyone has to buy a new light bulb. And this was called planned obsolescence. And now all technology, everything we've got, is based on planned obsolescence, because they need us to keep buying more stuff. And the medical system works in the same way. The pills, the pharmaceuticals, the pills that we are given are based on planned obsolescence. You take one pill, it's planned to be obsolete, so later on you need another one. And we create a new one now, a better one. You see, the most addictive drugs are these pharmaceutical ones, our so-called benevolent overlords are giving us. But if you can understand the medical system, the lies that they are built on, then you can start to see how dark and how evil this whole thing is, and why this really is a mafia. It's a mafia, it's a protection racket. And this goes back to the Roman Empire. The Romans started this whole thing, the taxation system. But again, taxation goes back throughout time. It's a method of controlling the masses, keeping the masses poor, keeping the masses working, so the people at the top can enjoy their good life. They want the good life. And the people at the top also are completely insane. I describe them as pathological sociopathic narcissists. And these guys that have been in charge, these top families, have been in charge for a long, long time. They control the central banks, and they control all these things from the monetary system. They control the legal system, as I said, and the political system. And they've been in control for generations. Each generation passed on to the next, and they've passed on this pathological narcissism to the next generation. And we can't comprehend their mindset. That's why we have hard trouble believing it, because we're all quite decent. We're all quite decent human beings. We can't comprehend how dark and evil these guys at the top are. They really believe their megalomania. These are true villains that we see in the movies. And of course, mostly we don't see them. We know a lot of them now. A lot of them are in the public eye. But a lot of the big ones are not. We don't really know who they are. They're secret, and they want to keep it that way. But all you have to do is follow the money, and you can see who's in charge. The pharmaceuticals, of course, connect to the food supply. The food supply is another one. So they control us through the drugs, they control us through the food, and the worst drugs, of course, are in the food. Refined sugar is by far the most addictive, damaging drug out there, and that's perfectly legal. All have that, refined sugar, yeah, give that. And refined flour, white flour, again, the wheat was purposely engineered to become more addictive. So the white flour in your white bread is in fact 5 times more addictive than the other so-called white powders, all these drugs. The white flour in your white bread is more addictive, and that's perfectly legal. Oh, that everywhere, everyone have that. But the drugs, or the so-called recreational drugs, are made illegal. You know, they don't actually cause harm, they have medicinal value, and they might just open your mind a little bit. Can't have that, those are shut down. But it's very clever. The way the education system teaches us, the education system doesn't teach us anything about taxation, real money, how money works. It doesn't really teach us about politics, how politics actually works, how lobbying works, how the backhanders work, how corporations and government work together. It doesn't teach us anything about that. It just teaches us the idea. You see, we're given a theatre. We've got the Conservatives against the Liberals. And these two main parties. It's how it works. Conservatives are your father, and the Liberals are your mother. And we all listen to them. The Conservatives, we're going to teach you how the world works. Yeah, life is hard. You've got to work for a living. You've got to be strong. Yeah. Oh, we listen to them like a father. The Liberals are like your mother. No, we're going to have a health service. We're going to look after these poor people. And these poor people should have special treatment. We look after them. They're our favourite. Oh, yeah, the Liberal Party will look after us. See, we all become like children. And this is the way they control us. They control us through this concept of authority. But remember, authority is a man-made thing. There is no real authority. There's no real authority in man. You see, if you look at it and you think about it, it all works like that. We are the government, the GOVT. And we have your best interest at heart. You voted for us, so therefore we're in control. Oh yeah, well, we voted for them. So, yeah, no. You didn't really vote for them. The voting is again a theatre. There's certain level of truth to it, but what you have to realise is the whole thing is steered. You only really have two choices, and those two choices are given to you by the same group of people. They don't mind which one you choose. Either one, they're going to control you. Either one, and they swing it. They push one as far as it can. So we've got it in London now here. We had the Conservatives, and people get so fed up with the Conservatives that now we just want them out. We vote for anything other than the Conservatives. So we vote for Labour, and we think, well, Labour's not that good, but it's better than the Conservatives. And we won't vote for the smaller ones because we think if I vote for the smaller ones, they'll never win. And I don't want the Conservatives to get back in, so I'd better vote for the other ones, Labour. But what it means is you get so fed up with the Conservatives that now you vote for the Labour. Then the Labour will be in power for a bit. They'll push their luck, get to the stage where how much can they do till the people get fed up. Then we get so fed up with their corruption that we think, no, they're so corrupt. Then the Conservatives come back and they think, oh, now those guys are a bit better. Oh, they're not very good, but they're better than those terrible Labour. And then they'll vote for Conservatives. And this is how it works. One to the other, to the other, to the other. But they're both under the same globalist control. It's just theatre for our benefit. And we've got to understand this. We've got to see through this. Now, it's interesting. We've got a populist uprising at the moment in politics. You can see it in Europe. And we've got a populist uprising here. But even the populists are still using the same system. They still have to use the same financial system, the same political system, and the same legal system. And they're just saying, well, we'll do it a bit better. We'll try and be more honest. But if they ever get into power, they'll see soon enough who really is in charge. Who really is in charge. And they'll only ever be able to do so much. So what is really required is a complete overhaul of the system. And that can only happen through technology, which I'll talk about in the next lecture. A complete overhaul of the financial system, the legal system, and the political system. That's the only way out. And remember, they've created a whole other thing now, the carbon footprint problem. But again, it's such nonsense, such nonsense. Really what that is a carbon tax. And if you think about it, you never thought you'd see the day. We used to joke about that years ago. Oh, they tax everything. Soon they're going to tax the air we breathe. And they now are. What is the carbon tax? The carbon tax is a tax on breathing. If you're breathing, you're going to have to pay tax. Now hang on a second. Who are you to say that you own the air, that you can tax us on it? This is completely unlawful. But we can't do anything about it. How do we fight them? We have to fight them through the courts, the legal system. But they own the legal system, so you can't fight them either. And furthermore, we've got this whole problem of the weather changing. They're telling us, oh, the weather is changing. All this stuff that we're doing is changing the weather. But of course, as all the corporations have been doing all the stuff, it's the corporations that have been polluting the world. It's the corporations that have been pillaging the world. corporations that have been creating slave labor in faraway countries to create this technology that we are using. And then they blame it on us. Well, you're using the technology, so therefore you're to blame. No. You created the technology and you haven't given us any choice. We've only got a few choices given to us. That is why we're not living in a free society. We've been told this is a democracy, we've got a free world, but you've only got 10 or 20 choices in front of you. So it's an illusory freedom. Oh, I can choose any of these 110 things. Now, if you go to, say, China or real communist country, they've got less choices. They might only have 2 choices in front of them, where we've got 12 choices in front of us. But it's not real freedom. Not real freedom at all. And if you really want to live a free life, you won't be allowed to do that. You won't be allowed to do that. See, remember, taxation is a big deal itself. Taxation is theft. People say it. Taxation is flat out theft. It really, really is. Because who are a group of people to charge us for something? Who are these people that are taking our money, our hard-earned money? Who are you? Who are you to take this from us? And if we don't give it to you, you're going to put us in prison. That sounds like a criminal enterprise to me. And I didn't sign up for that. You can ask me for money. You could say to me, listen, I want to provide some services to you. Would you like to pay in to contribute to those services? And then we could say yes or no and sign a contract. But we didn't sign any contracts. They just take our money from birth. We're born into this. We're born into a system of taxation. What if I now say, no, I don't want to pay tax. I don't want to be part of any of this. I don't need your services. I want to live somewhere peacefully and quietly. No, you still have to pay the tax. This is a mafia. This is a mafia. And think about it. We're the only creature on earth that has to pay to live. And we're conscious beings. Conscious beings need space. We've got no space now. We're crammed in a city. Crammed in a city. We need to have space around us. Now, if you want to learn more about the legal system, the financial system, and the government system, I'm going to leave links below to the Sovereign Project and a couple of very detailed videos by Sovereign Pete. He's the guy who started the Sovereign Project. And he's a very good expert in understanding how the legal system works, the financial system works, and the political system works, and how this whole game is played. And it's played with a language. The legal system is essentially a language, a secret language, and it's called Universal Legal Code. And that's where you have to learn the law. You have to learn and rise up, become a barrister. When you become a barrister, you have to swear an oath. You have to swear an oath on the bar. And from that point on, you are duty bound to keep the secrets. Because at that level, once you reach a certain level in the legal system, you also know, this is a bit of a game. This is all a bit of a game. And the poor people at the bottom don't know how to play the game. So we all get caught up in the game because we don't know how to play it. We become unwitting players in the game and we always lose. We always lose. It's the same with the financial system. We're working for money. But what is this money we're working for? We're working for a piece of paper. A piece of paper given to us by the central bank. It's not given to us by the government. There's no actual value to this piece of paper. Now, it used to be that this piece of paper represented gold, and you could go to the bank and say, here's my piece of paper, give me some gold in exchange, and they'd have to do it. But not anymore. Not anymore. It's got to the level now where if you say to the bank, here's my piece of paper, give me something of value for this piece of paper, they'll just give you the same bit of paper back. Here you are. And furthermore, you have to pay interest on that piece of paper. So if the bank lends you one piece of paper, you have to give the bank back 2 pieces of paper. But how do I get the second piece of paper? Only the bank can give it to me. So essentially, I'm working for the bank. We're all working for the banks forevermore because the banks have got us tripped up in this interest rate, this artificial creation of money. This artificial creation of money. See, money, true money is fine. True money is an exchange of value or an exchange of work, the labor you do. But what we have now is a created artificial money. Fiat currency, fiat literally means fake. It used to be the emperor puts his stamp on the money, now he calls it money. But who is this emperor to create the money? Think of the Second World War. In the Second World War, there was this guy. We know this guy here. This famous guy in the Second World War with the moustache. Now, this guy did some terrible things. But how did he get the power? All the people, either they believed him or they were too scared of him, so they followed his orders. This guy was put into power. How did he get power? How did he get so far? All the people became complicit. This is where the psychology is involved. So you can't blame this one guy. You can, but you have to blame everyone. You see, he would give the orders, go and exterminate those 10,000 individuals. Okay, and then they go and exterminate them. You could say no. You could say, well, no, I'm not doing that. That's a bit much. I'm not going to go and do that. But I better do it because otherwise maybe I'll be exterminated, or I'll lose my job, I'll lose my money, I'll be booted out of the army. So we all become complicit. This is why the system is so clever. It's a system that is self-fulfilling. It is organic, all by itself. We subscribe to it. See, the financial system is key. They create this concept of money, and they create the concept that you can make it. You can make more money. And now we've got a craziness about getting rich quick. We all can get rich quick because we can join in the game. Yeah, we can do investments. We can create a new product. We can scam other people and get rich quick. So we all become these same people in the group. And if we manage to rise up, get very, very rich, very, very quick, up to a billionaire, and if you're going to get to a billionaire, you can't have done that honestly. It's very rare to have done that completely honestly. So if you've got to a billionaire, you have engaged in the financial system in its corruption. You have to have. You would have played the game of interest. You would have played the game of investments. And you would have screwed over a lot of small people to rise up. And if you rise up to the billionaires, then you might get invited into the secret club. And these people at the top have a secret club. And really it's a cult. It's a secret cult. And they believe this esoteric science. So they have a cult of this esoteric wisdom. And we know, one of the most famous ones we know is the stone builders. I don't want to say the exact word, but the stone builders. The Stone Builders group. And the Stone Builders group connects to the police and connects to government, connects to all these different things, but it's a secret club, a secret esoteric cult. And the people at the bottom don't really know much, even in that group. They just go there like a church. Yeah, once a week I go to the group. But the people at the top know the esoteric science, and they're playing these games. They're doing these rituals, and they're manipulating from the top. And it's not only these guys, there's plenty of these secret groups, secret cults. And even the mainstream religions that we know have connections to these backdoor religions. These are like backdoor secret religions. And in those secret religions, they're also doing their esoteric magic. See, I talk about a lot in these lecture series, I talk about magic, dark magic. This is what I call magical science. But there are two sides to this magic. Of course, we've got the light side of the force and the dark side of the force. Now, the light side of the force is really to do with wisdom. It's to do with sharing the energy. I'm working on building the life force and sharing the life force for all of us. We all build and increase our life force. Now, the dark side of the force is selfish. I'm collecting the force for myself. I'm going to take the life force from everyone else and bring it for me only. That's the main difference. It's essentially the same science, but it's what you do with it. Either you share it for the greater good of everyone, or you're taking it for yourself. And this is what these guys are doing. They're taking it for themselves. They don't want to do any actual work. They don't want to share it. They want to live forever, and they want to stay in control. And at the top of this cult, they really believe this stuff. They really believe it. And they're going to do their dark rituals, their crazy magic. They're going to do their sacrifices, all sorts of terrible sacrifices, little ones. They'll sacrifice the little ones, and they'll drink the juice. They'll do all this mad, crazy stuff. It's becoming quite mainstream now. Because they're at the top, they believe they rule the world, and they believe they are the chosen ones, the favourite ones, and all the rest of us, they see us as cattle. They don't see us as actual individuals. They see us as farm animals. We are their cannon fodder. We are their product. They literally grow us. They breed us to harvest us. They harvest from us. So they will, of course, harvest our juice, our life juice, But there's more than just that. They will use our internal organs. This is a big, big business. And in China, it's been done a long time. In China, there's got the Qigong practitioners. There's a set of Qigong practitioners called Falun Gong, very famous now. And they've been saying it for years. The Chinese government has been kidnapping them and harvesting their organs. China is a good place to look at. If you look at China, you know the president of China now. He's a president, supposedly democratically elected, communist democratic elected, but really he's an emperor. He's still the Chinese emperor at the top. And the army will be his personal army. The police force is his personal police force. Whatever he wants will happen. He will have his own hospital. He will have his own personal hospital. And do not think he will have the top Qigong masters in China, the top Qigong doctors looking after him. He will have Qi healing. He will get people to do Qi magic for him. He wants to live forever. And if that guy or any of those top politicians living their unhealthy lifestyle, getting their healing, their medical treatments, need a new organ, say they need a new liver, I need a new liver, they just say, I'm not going to go on the waiting list to wait for my new liver, whichever one comes. They want a liver now, and they want the best quality liver. They will say, see that guy in the mountains, there and here, he's got the right age, he's only 30, 40 years old, perfect age, he's in peak physical health, he's been doing Qi in the mountains for years and years, he's got a good liver, get me that guy's liver. And he'll just send his police, pick up that guy, take him, take his liver, and they've got the liver. So this is what the Falun Gong people are saying, but this happens all over the world. And it happens in a very, very bad way. The small little ones, they're abused and then later on harvested for their organs and sold. You can see this on the abortion market as well. But the fetuses in these great big institutions, they're aborted, but they're sold afterwards, sold for body parts. It's big, big business. How has this happened? It can only happen because these people at the top do not regard us with any respect. We are literally, like I said, we are, let's just say it, we are slaves. We are their product. We are grown and harvested for their own personal benefit. I'm angry about this. And it's a righteous anger, and we should have this. The world we are in should not be like this. You've got to get your head around this. The system we are in is man-made, created. We are not supposed to be so unhappy. We are not supposed to be so unhealthy. We are not supposed to be suffering so much. We are not supposed to be working ourselves to the bone all day long, just working to pay our tax. This is all created. None of this is supposed to be happening. When you can see this and realize this, then you're going to get angry. They're also poisoning us through the skies. It's another big one. People don't believe it. Oh, we're spraying from above. That can't be happening. But of course it's happening. These guys controlled everything for a long, long time. And it's very easy for them to have big secret operations going on. Very easy. And controlling the weather, very, very easy to do. All you have to do is go up, spray, what they're doing, spraying heavy metals. So you're spraying barium, strontium, aluminium, and this other thing based on graphite, I don't want to say the words, but this other little thing that when you get it in your system, it grows into like an antenna, and this allows them to broadcast frequencies and pick it up. But these heavy metals will spray from the sky, come down, but in the sky themselves, they float in the sky, then they have another system called HARP. This is a thing on the ground, you can look this up, HARP. And this broadcasts microwave radiation. The microwave radiation will excite these little particles, and that creates temperature changes. So then they can create weather quite easily like this. So they can create snow, they can create heat, they can create wind, they can create tornadoes, they can create earthquakes. If you look at Tesla's science, he talks about that. He created an earthquake. Tesla created an earthquake himself. A small mini earthquake. It's all to do with controlling the electric current, the electricity in the earth. The only thing that is hard to get your head around is why would they do it? Anyway, spraying from the sky, they're poisoning everything. Now they're poisoning the land. But why are they poisoning the farmer's land? Because they want the land. The farmer then has to sell out. His crops fail. It's too much flooding. It's too dry. They have to give up. Who buys the land? The central banks come in and buy the land. So this is how it works. They don't mind the fiat currency collapsing, because as the fiat currency collapses, we all have to sell out. They buy all the assets, and then they've got to own everything. It doesn't matter if the fiat currency collapses, because they own the actual assets. We have nothing. Remember, you will own nothing and you will be happy. Why will we be happy? Because we have programmed you to be happy. In other words, they have programmed you to accept it. Ah, well, that's the way the world is now. I've got to go and live in a little cubicle. Ah, but I'm happy in my little cubicle. I've got my little TV screen. I've got my little teddy bear. They have programmed you to be happy. You have no idea what life was supposed to be like. These guys are still living their best life. Why is it these super rich people are not living in a little cubicle? Why is it they've got big mansions with acres of nature around them? Why is it they're living on the top of a mountain in Switzerland? Why is it they're living by the edge of the sea? Why is it they've got a shoreline property with acres, with a great view, good air coming in? I thought the oceans are rising, everything's going to be flooded. Why are they all buying oceanfront properties? Why are the mortgage companies still putting mortgages on oceanfront properties? If they know everything's going to be underwater, shouldn't be able to get mortgages on an oceanfront property. Shouldn't be able to get insurance. You still can. So why is it? They know the esoteric science. They know that there's energy, they want it. They just don't want us to have it. They just don't want us to have it. And they're spraying from above. And again, it was one of the things we think, well, they wouldn't be doing that because they are spraying themselves. Well, first of all, you've got to look into it. Someone's got to do this research. There must be areas in the world that are not being sprayed. And those areas you'll see where these super rich people probably live. And secondly, these guys can afford medical treatments. They have a machine that can chelate the blood. So once a week, they can have a filtration of the blood, filter out the heavy metals. And again, you must understand the science has been controlled. There will be secret science, secret medical science, not available to us, but available to these secret top people. And that's non-invasive science that they can detox from. They'll get the healing they need. And they will also have blood transfusions. As I backtrack a little bit, they can have a blood transfusion. Now, the poor people can sell the blood and the rich people can buy it. It's openly done now. If you have a few $1,000s, you can get a blood transfusion for your health. So we all become vampires now. You see, these guys at the top are the vampires, but now we're all encouraged. Just a bit of money, you can become a vampire. Now we all become complicit in the system. Once we engage in the system, we become complicit in the system. We don't want to change it. This is why it's so difficult to change the system. The people at the top control it. They don't want to change it. But the intermediate people, the millionaires, even millionaires, they've got enough money that they don't care. I know the system is corrupt, but I can pay all the taxes, I can pay everything, I can pay for a good accountant, I can have my holiday home, I don't care. It's the poor people, the middle class and the lower class, we're the ones that will suffer it all. So we're the ones that are going to have to do the work to change it. The upper middle class and the elite class, the political class, these guys don't care, they like the system. And that's how the system works. The stronger narcissists rise up to the system and they're going to perpetuate it. And that's why the system is so damn clever. It brings me back to this guy, you know, this terrible guy in Second World War. He was at the top of the system, but these intermediate people fulfilled his wishes. Why did they do that? Why were they complicit? Study has been done that about 80%, I can't remember the exact figure, but 80% of people in a position of power are narcissists. And that stands to reason, that's logic. A narcissist is someone that has no ethics, has no morals. They can lie to your face. They don't believe they're lying. And they want power. They're absolutely ruthless. They'll cut anyone down to get power. They love power. So it stands to reason a narcissist will rise up the political structure, the power system. A genuine person is not so ruthless. They won't cut anyone else down. So for a genuine, honest person, it's very difficult to get into power. The narcissist will go up. That's how the system works. They're encouraging narcissism. That's what we got now. The society we live in now is promoting narcissism because they want it. They're looking for the next narcissist to recruit for their positions of power. And it's only intermediate positions of power. Remember, at the top is families. They're only going to pass it to their own family members. They're not really going to let any of these intermediate people have the real power. But these intermediate people can have a lot of power, a lot of power. You see, there's another very subtle thing being done. Let's talk about this. We're talking about narcissism being promoted, but also primitive mentality, debauchery, animalism, animalistic stuff, demons, animal demons. This stuff is promoted. Now, why is that? It's because they are associating us with animals, or they are teaching us that we are just animals. That keeps our mind level very low. Oh, we're just like animals, fighting each other, struggling. Yeah, I've got base emotions, but I'm an animal, so it's all right. They've taken away the idea of evolving into a higher spiritual being, a higher civilized being, someone with a higher consciousness, a greater morality, a greater ethics. But again, ethics is not arbitrary. Ethics comes from wisdom. And I talk about that in my previous lecture. Now, again, it's done very obviously. You can see it in Hollywood now, all the promotion of demons, witchcraft, dark magic, the devil. There's so many movies, all the celebrities dressing up like that. What's that all about? Rituals, dark rituals. It's because the people at the top believe this cult stuff. They run a cult like that, and they're putting these rituals out there, because these rituals, as we watch them, they're doing their magic. They're doing their magic, and they know it. They know it. That energy is coming to them still, the life force, they're still collecting the energy from all these dark rituals. And we, watching them, are actually the victims. We're the sacrifice in these rituals. But it's done more insidiously. You've got to look at things like Disney. Disney is all animals. All little happy animals singing, dancing. And the one person is looked after by animals. And they all become animals. And it's very subtle, but it's teaching the children, yeah, you're animals. Animals are good. You just be animals. And now we've got these people that actually dress up as animals. They are literally saying, I'm an animal. And oh yeah, you're allowed to do that. That's okay. You can be an animal. They're promoting that because it's promoting a very low level of consciousness. And that low level of consciousness is easily programmed. Remember, they're programming us through hypnosis, through manipulation. And this manipulation is quite obvious. We can see a lot of it, but a lot of it is very, very subtle. See, a lot of people talk about this and we can laugh at it. We can say, oh my God, look at this manipulation they're doing now. It's openly obvious. But some of it is very clever. There are a lot of psyops out there. So we have to be very, very clever, very observant of all the hypnosis coming our way. And that is one thing we can do straight away. And I talk about it on this channel a lot. We do not want to be susceptible to hypnosis. We need to maintain a full internal awareness, an awareness of our mind, our body, and our spirit, our connection to pure, infinite spirit. And the pure, infinite spirit is above all of this. The entire universe is created from this pure, infinite spirit, this ether. And we want to tune into that, and it's way above all these games. These are just fun and games happening down here on this human plane, on the society we've now got. But it's not really fun. But we got to keep a sense of humour. We've got to laugh at it. We've got to laugh at it. And that's the only way through. Otherwise we'll be very depressed, very miserable. And don't forget, this is partly to depress us. It is demoralising us. And it leads me to another big lie that we're being told about history. And this is an interesting one, because we've been told we come from the sort of dark ages. But there's a lot of research now into alternative history. And it's well worth looking into. I'm leaving links below to more channels that talk about this. But we can look at the old buildings, the old architecture. Now if you look at, say, the pyramids, now the pyramids is ancient history. And we all know now, everyone knows these are very high level technology. There's very few people left that still believe this was just primitive people building up blocks. The mathematics and the alignment, the structure, the dimensions of these pyramids is so clever. The mathematics is so perfect. There is no way this could be done by a primitive society. It is just no way. It is absolutely super advanced, very clever society had to build these pyramids. And there's more than just those pyramids, they're everywhere. All over the world there's pyramids. There's more pyramids in America than there is in Egypt. We've even got pyramids here in England. There's pyramids underwater. Great big pyramids under the ocean. So there's civilizations a long time ago, now underwater rather, with great big pyramids. It's undeniable that there was advanced civilization building this stuff. Now, you can go into the details about what that was, and people have done that, look into that, but I just want to talk about it in a general sense. Because not only that, then you've got to look a bit at other things, temples. You've got the Temple of Angkor Wat in Cambodia. You've got these Machu Picchu in South America. You've got incredible temples in India, all carved out the mountain, apparently carved out the mountain. Again, these will be done with incredible geometry, incredible mathematics. The mathematics of all these things, some research has been done, the alignment, the dimensions all connect to universal things. They connect to like the distance between the sun and the earth, the dimension of the earth, the circumference of the earth, the dimension of the sun. They connect to the magnetic north. They connect to star systems. So they connect, that the mathematics and the geometry of all these incredible structures connects to the universe around us. That tells you they're very, very clever, and they were doing that for a reason. We don't do that now. We just build random structures. And forget about even those temples. These are ancient. We still think they're ancient. What about the cathedrals, the churches, the palaces? These are relatively modern, we're told. They were built in the medieval ages. Oh, the same medieval ages that you tell us, the population was very low, so there was only like 1 million people around. And in each country, maybe 100,000 people. And we were just sort of digging earth, scrabbling around in the earth, building little mud huts. We might have had a horse and cart and a donkey. And then we build a little settlement. And then we all get together and think, let's build a cathedral. So in the year, 1000 AD, we built this giant cathedral. And what did we do? Just got to start building blocks. And it turned, no. Again, no one has done the research properly, but if you analyse the dimensions of some of these big cathedrals, the proportions of the dimensionality are going to map things like in the universe, like these other temples. The alignment, they're going to be aligned to magnetic north. They're going to have underground catacombs. They're going to be built with very deep foundations if they're not built upon something else. So all of this requires incredible planning, incredible mathematics, and incredible building skills. And they're perfect. Look at all these cathedrals. Everything is perfect. The spires are perfect. There's no wonky ones. And in fact, there's no subsidence. Again, no one's talked about that. There's no real subsidence of any of these old cathedrals. They're all level. There's only one of these ancient buildings subsided that is famous, is the Leaning Tower of Pisa. But even that hasn't fallen over. So that could be a genuine subsidence, but I do wonder if that might have been done on purpose. It has a slant for a reason, which we don't know. But otherwise, if you look at it, all the other buildings around the Leaning Tower of Pisa, they're all perfectly level. So these buildings were built with a technology that we can't do now. You couldn't recreate these cathedrals right now. Now, if you go to Disneyland, it's very interesting. In Disneyland, they've recreated these castles, but these are all artificial ones. And if you study this old world theory, you should look into the world fairs. There's world fairs around the world where they had these magnificent buildings, vast acres of huge stone structures, and they destroyed them all. There's plenty of videos on that. I'll leave links below. But these buildings were more than just geometry. They were more than just beauty. The geometry and the mathematics was there for a reason, and the reason was to resonate. You see, that whoever built these structures, and I mean all the structures, going back to the pyramids and all these incredible structures, they had a knowledge of the ether, the spirit. They had this esoteric science. And this esoteric science has been hidden from us. This is where all these lies begin. With the esoteric side of science has been taken out, all we've got is materialism. All we've got is animalism. You are animals, materialistic animals. And here's your money. Here's your money. We'll give you the money. Off you go and play. Fight amongst yourselves. They'll create two factions. You fight. They'll create wars. Wars are not spontaneous. Wars are all planned. They plan this stuff as well. The same bank will finance both sides of the war. They'll get the war going. They don't care which side wins. The bank always wins. And one of the reasons they create wars is to go into a country and establish a central bank. There's only a couple countries left without a central bank now. And they do, because they're also aware of this esoteric knowledge, they are also using that esoteric knowledge against us. They will be doing their dark magic rituals. They will have their priests of their cult. And their cult will work out these rituals, what to do to get what they want happening. They'll have these black flag events, they'll destroy something, they'll create a war, they'll knock down a building. A lot of these old world buildings, they're just knocking down, destroying them, but they'll do it on a certain date. They'll work out a plan, they'll have a ritual together with that, and they'll all celebrate afterwards, so they'll collect the energy from that. And that's what they're doing to us. Not only are they keeping us miserable, keeping us sick, keeping us controllable, they're also draining our energy. It is quite literally the Matrix. What was the Matrix movie? We're all just plugged in and we're batteries. They're literally taking bioelectricity out of us to run their electrical systems. That's the Matrix. The Matrix is the robots, the computers are taking the bioelectric energy from us to run this artificial intelligence society. It's literally what they're trying to create, an artificial intelligence society. But we think it's artificial intelligence. It's not artificial intelligence. It's them. Those are the guys at the top. Artificial intelligence is just a nice excuse. It's not us, it's the artificial intelligence. But we don't want to subscribe to that. So the dark magic that they're doing is literally to collect our energy. And this happens in a very small way, by demoralizing us, demanding attention from us. You see, when they talk to us through movies, when they talk to us through the media, even the BBC News, you see, it's hypnosis. Welcome to the BBC. Here is the news at 5 p.m. Today, some terrible thing happened, but never mind, we, the government, are looking after it. You sit back, relax, lock yourself in the room, and keep quiet. And we become like children. But you see, they're getting energy from us because we are giving them attention. We are listening to them. So there is a transfer of energy going on. This is how all cults work. Cults work like that. The leader at the top of the cult says, I am the leader. You are all my children. Listen to me. And everyone sits and listens to the cult leader. Yes, master. Yes. Ha. Come, give me your offerings. Give me your offerings. You will have to make an offering. And this guy sits at the top. He's just sucking up the life force. And man, the master looks so young. How is he so? He's so young because he's draining all your energy. I'm getting older. Master's getting younger. This is like the picture of Dorian Gray. So these guys at the top, not only are they stealing our life juices, stealing our internal organs, making us work for them like slaves, they're also stealing our life force energy. Through hypnosis, through dark magic rituals, through Hollywood movies, all this stuff, they're demanding our attention. They believe they are gods on this earth. And we are the disciples. They really want that. They want a religion. Not only are we looking at a globalist agenda, we're looking at a globalist religion. They want one religion. That sounds lovely. Who's at the top? Who's at the top? So that's why they don't mind cults, they don't mind religions, because that can all happen. We can all have our little cults. But in time, those little cults come together to the one big cult. And those guys at the top, they really believe they are gods on this earth and the energy is coming to them. And I like the Star Wars analogy. The Star Wars analogy is a very good one because these are like the Emperor. In Star Wars, you have the Empire. The Empire is run by the Sith, the dark side of the Force. You have Darth Vader, he's like the general of the army. He just takes your energy, he can kill you like that. And then you've got the Emperor above that. The Emperor above that, he controls Darth Vader. He's got much more powerful energy. But he's manipulating the governments. He's got a front face. He's a politician. He's a politician. Yeah, I'm looking out for the good of all the galaxies. But behind the scenes, he's the Dark Emperor, collecting all the power for himself. And then you've got the Rebel Alliance and the Jedi. And the Jedi, we have to be the Jedi. See, the Jedi are, in the movie, at least they're fragmented. They're mostly destroyed, and the Empire's running everything. So we're little Jedi in our little world trying to battle this great Empire. But all we have to do is go inside and build our own chi. That's all we have to do. We have to realize I am a Jedi. I am a warrior priest of the light side of the Force. I am connecting to true wisdom. Beyond all this, I can create life force myself. And all I have to do is create this and build an aura. Build a force field around myself and dismiss this negative programming. Do not let ourselves be demoralized. But the old buildings, again, these come from a better time. Whoever built these old buildings had an awareness of the energy. So these buildings were designed to collect the ether. The geometry, the shapes, the mathematics, you see, you've got all these triangles, these arches, these different points. These are all to collect the ether. The dimensionality, the proportions that connect to the universe create a resonance with the rest of the universe. You see, look at the pyramids of Giza. If they have 3 pyramids and they're exactly in the same dimensions as 3 stars, it will resonate with those 3 stars. It will bring the energy down here. They will create that energy. So that's one thing they do. And then the other thing they do, these tall spires connect to that atmospheric voltage. They literally bring static field. Static electricity will build up in these buildings. So whoever made these, designed these for that purpose. They were healing buildings. And the water inside the buildings, you'd have holy water inside these cathedrals. Because the holy water, it would be holy because the static electricity, the whole structure built so much static electricity, it would charge up the water, structure the water. And used to have that. Some of us are still old enough to remember the doctors will say, don't drink healing waters. Go and spend 2 weeks by the beach and drink the healing waters. And it was known treatment. But now the water we get is sewage water. We just get multiple recycled sewage water. Now, I don't know if you know this, you've got to do more research, but these old world buildings were everywhere. And in London, we used to have that, and all around the world, you'd have these water towers. There was a water system in the cities, and there's still a few left in London, beautiful water towers, like little mini cathedrals. So that the idea is where you drink the water from the fountain, even that little cathedral is charging up the water. But we used to have it in London. The water was piped in. There'd be pipes from the Cotswolds, further north, in natural water from the mountains. We piped into London, and all around London we'd have these spring water wells. Anyone can drink this spring water. So we had to shut all that down. Now what we got is sewage water. So my point is, we had a better world not that long ago. These buildings are there, and whoever created these buildings had a thought for our well-being. They were aware of this esoteric science, and they created these beautiful structures for our healing and our benefit, our empowerment. And that, of course, has to be taken away, because this small group of people need to control us. They don't want us getting healthy. But if you look at it, some of these top guys, they live in these old world buildings. Now, there's a big family called Roth, and then secondly, Child. I don't want to say it, but these will have palaces. And they live in these old world palaces themselves. They know there was good energy in it, and they would live in it. But we can't live in these. These are taken away from us. And the power of these buildings is taken away by the lightning conductor. So now these great big cathedrals, the spires go to the top to collect lightning. They can absorb lightning. They were hit by lightning, and the lightning will just charge up the building. Boom! And now they have a lightning conductor, so the lightning goes outside the building down to the earth. But again, the energy agenda, we're supposedly trying to get renewable energies, but even these big wind farms, great big things, they're so inefficient. Even if people don't know this, but they don't start by themselves. They have a little engine in there, so the engine has to start it. So they draw power from the grid to start the thing turning, and maybe when the wind picks up, then it might get going. But even if these wind farms do send some energy to the grid, most of that energy is wasted, because the grid needs to be stable. So you can't have a surge of energy. If suddenly the wind picks up, all the wind farm goes and a surge of electricity comes to the grid can't handle it. It's a great big surge of energy. It has to be dissipated away. It's just wasted away. The grid has to be maintained at a certain level. The only way to do that is with the coal fire powered generators, because that they can just control it very carefully. So the wind energy is pretty much, most of it is just gets to the thing. If it gets there, it has to be just wasted, dissipated, because the grid can't handle the shock of it. And the solar power, wipe out fields of forest to put these solar panels that don't last very long. They're great big deserts with solar powers all damaged. Just like a desert of solar panels now. They're useless. So there are much better ways of collecting free energy that have been dismissed. And it all comes because the science has dismissed the ether. Tesla had a lot more different ideas. And Tesla's only one guy. I speak about Tesla because everyone knows Tesla. But there are a lot of people that understand field theory and how this could possibly work. But this is quite hopeful. You see, the powers that be don't let us have these healing buildings. We've now associated them with religion, but these had nothing to do with religion. These buildings, including the pyramids, they were power stations, they collected energy, and they were healing temples. They collected the ether. And the ether is, again, the life force. So just by going in these buildings, and they're still there, you can go to these churches, these cathedrals, sit inside, meditate and try and feel the energy. It might not have the full electrostatic charge, but the geometry is still mostly there. The structure is still mostly there. So you can tune into the ether and feel yourself get energized in these buildings. They're still available. So that is one good positive thing we can do. Build our chi and go to these buildings and sit inside and meditate, try and feel the energy, or help you feel the energy. And of course, go to places in nature. Nature is the same thing. But you notice these buildings, these cathedrals, are very harmonious with nature. They would have a big park. Some of these great estates, they would create a big parkland. But it's a natural, very natural looking parkland, and they have the big house in there. But it wouldn't be harmonious. You wouldn't look at this house and think, oh, it's out of place in this beautiful countryside. Very harmonious. Now we have modern architecture, very disharmonious. The buildings we make now are purposely made to disempower us, to take our energy. And the word is brutalist. They are brutalist structures. And if you look at Marxism, communism, they researched this. They actually did this on purpose. In Marxism, they built the buildings like prisons, big square blocks, so people felt like they're going to prison every day, working in the office, it's a prison. And that's what we've got now. Everything is a prison. It's like a matrix planet. We're all in these tower blocks stuck together in a little box, working. We're prisoners. And it's done on purpose to demoralize us. It's not done for efficiency. And even these modern architects, that you see, they think they're real artists. I'm a modeler, I'm creating a great, cool design building. They don't realize they've already been programmed with this brutalism. So they might come up with a clever, nice design, but it's random. You've got jagged edges going at different angles. There's no thought about the alignment. There's no thought about the proportionality. It's just plonked there, and it always looks ugly, disharmonious. And if you put these things in nature, it's like, what the hell is this thing doing? There's a beautiful park, and they've stuck this ugly sculpture, this ugly building in the middle. Why? You're literally ruining the harmony, the energy of that place. It's done on purpose. This is what we've got to understand. The system and the people at top doing these terrible, terrible things on purpose. The society we live in now, the matrix we live in, is designed on purpose. It's happened slowly, bit by bit, so we didn't notice. But we've been taught it from childhood, how the world is. We've been given a perception of the world. The world is like that now. Yeah, there's a lot of sickness in the world. Oh, a lot of war in the world, starvation. Oh no, it's terrible. We're used to it. We're now blasé about it. And they tell you about a better world. Oh, you can never have a better world. There's always going to be corruption. We've literally all given up now. It is what it is. Maybe we might get a better political party, might do a bit better. If you could see the potential, what should be happening on this earth, then you will realise, hang on a second, this is a joke what's going on. It's an absolute joke. And then you're going to start thinking about what the hell can we do about it? What the hell can we do about this? And I'll tell you now, the first thing we've got to do is work in our body. That's why I started this channel, Body Efficiency Training. The very first thing we can all do is become aware of our body, aware of the alignment of our body, the structure of our body. It's rather like those buildings. They're beautifully aligned. We're like in an ugly building now, like that. No, I've got to put myself into perfect alignment. A good building aligning my structure, my bone structure perfectly to collect the ether, collect the chi. A collapsed, ugly posture, it's harder to collect the energy. It doesn't resonate. Here, I open up, I resonate with the force, the life force. And then we also want to build our aura and gain control of our mind. Start becoming aware of how we are being hypnotized, how we are being given a perception, how we are being demoralized. And then we say, hang on a second, I don't want to feel demoralized. No, I'm not accepting this demoralization. That's the first resistance we need to do. Do not be demoralized. Keep your chin up. Keep creating positive energy inside yourself, no matter what nonsense is going on. Because remember, the very first thing they're doing is demoralizing you. And it's also the very last thing they're doing is demoralizing you. Demoralizing you is taking your energy away from you. You feel weaker. Your spirit feels weaker. They are vampires draining your energy. So we don't let that happen. No, you're not taking my energy. No, you're not demoralizing me. And it goes back to this as well. Again, a final thought. This guy here, these vampires at the top. See, which is worse, the king vampire or the vampire familiars? What we've got in society now is all these vampire familiars. They want to work up the ranks. I want to join the secret society. It's like the vampire familiars. Master, please give me a bite. Please bite me. Make me a vampire. Make me an immortal vampire like you. No, I will not bite you. Keep working for me. So which is worse, the king vampire, the immortal, or all these familiars scrabbling around? I will bring more lives for the master. And that's what we've got going on in society. We've got these vampires at the top. It's hard to know who they are. Some we know, some we don't. And then you've got different layers below. And it's on a need-to-know basis. It works like a mafia structure. It's not communism. It's not capitalism. It's a mafia structure. It's global corporatism. And corporates, everything is a corporation. Even the government is a corporation. You can look this up. Again, the Sovereign Project will talk all about this. Everything is a corporation, therefore everything is obliged to go into the legal system, including government. The legal system is a language created by these guys at the top that they can play the game they want. And they can use that to control all of us. They can use that to control government. If they can control government, they control the army, the police force, and all of us are the plebs, the serfs, the peasants. And these are the Lord Barons. But we are sitting at the edge of some new technology. So there is hope for the future. And that is going to I'm going to talk about that in the next lecture. So I hope this lecture made sense, and do leave any comments or questions below. And do check out the previous lectures because they do all lead up to this one. And stay tuned for the final lecture in the series. The final lecture in the series is technology. Ancient technology, future technology, and technology that can change the world. Break us out of the matrix. And I'm talking about healing technology, we all need that, and technology that can build a decentralized system. At the moment, what we have got is total centralization. So these people at the top can control everything because it's centralized. The financial system, central bank. All boils down to one central bank. The legal system, again, centralization. All across the world, all boils down to universal legal code, a particular language. They all work together with this language. Doesn't matter what country you're in, it's the same universal legal code. And of course, politics. And the political system is centralized. And we can see it in this country, but it's all slightly different. Different countries slightly different, but it's all centralized. Communism, capitalism is still centralized government. And the only solution is to decentralize all these things. And that is why that technology is only now starting to appear. So we're living at an interesting time, a very interesting time. People are waking up. They're waking up to the idea that, hey, this world is not meant to be as bad as it is. But what the hell can we do about it? Next lecture, I'm going to be talking about solutions. Very important solutions. Thank you so much for watching. And I look forward to seeing you in one of these other videos here.